there's 340 million in America. That's right. No, but do you think
as far as like reported ones, because even just reported data is going to be incomplete.
That doesn't count mifepristone, which is the chemical abortion that people can have at home. It doesn't count Plan B, right? So,
and even if like abortion were illegal, for example, we stopped gathering data on like who procures abortions, there would be so many. There's so many now, even with states where it's still legal.
Texas, it's gone down dramatically. So hundreds of thousands.
No, they're still happening. It's just
they're happening,
not being accounted for.
About 90% abortion.
Women are just doing it to themselves.
Right. It's a 90% abortion reduction rate in Texas. I don't want to dwell on that too much, though. So there's 1 million abortions every single year. And there's twice as many people on the there's 2 million people actively on the adoption waiting list. So there's really no such thing currently, there could be, but currently, of an unwanted child. So there's 2 million people wanting to adopt, and there's 1 million people that have abortions every single year. So there's twice as many people that want to get a child. Now, there's a longer conversation about making it less bureaucratic without allowing bad people to adopt kids for bad reasons. I'm perfectly open for that conversation. But to answer your question, I don't love the premise. It's a really good question because a lot of people have it. I don't necessarily believe being born in poverty is a death sentence or is a reason to terminate. No. But abortion is a death sentence. So I don't think poverty should give you a death sentence.
Would you say abortion is murder?
Oh, of course, 100%.
Do you think that people who procure abortions, women specifically, a woman who procures an abortion should go to jail for getting one?
Absolutely, yeah. They're the moral equivalent of Auschwitz.
Really?
Yes.
Millions of women are basically the same as like Nazi death camp guards.
The women are victims. They're lied to. 90% of women do not see an ultrasound before they have an abortion. They have no idea what's happening to them. They're the victims here. It is the abortionists that are doing this. But let me ask you, and I mean this, have you guys ever seen an abortion on a video?
I'm sorry. If women are the victims here, why should they be jailed?
Well, I don't believe they should be jailed. I think
the abortionists.
How is it that you could believe that abortion is murder, but a murderer shouldn't go to jail?
I didn't say that. The doctors, the abortionists, the people that call themselves doctors, the people that put women under general anesthesia and go into.
But women do. They ask for it.
They are doctors. They're medical.
Are you going to just discount the accountability of the women in that decision?
My current perspective is because the women are not given what is called informed consent, that the women should not be penalized. They should not be. They shouldn't be penalized. In fact, they should be given grace from a system that has lied to them and has misled them. They are not given the full picture of exactly what's happening to them. Informed consent has not happened, so these women are the victims. The abortionists, one second, the abortionists are the ones that know exactly what's happening. And if you haven't seen a video of an abortion, I'm not going to say anything too graphic. It is one of the hardest things to watch. The baby fights, the baby struggles, the baby dodges, the baby avoids. They break the neck of the baby. They euthanize it to the spring. It's not a joke.
Sorry.
And then they tear it limb from limb through there. If you're trying to tell me that's
that's like a
if you're talking about they're called dilation and extraction abortions. Then yes,
hold on a second.
Like that. But if you're talking
a baby has a backbone at 6 weeks and a spine. It has a complete figure. It's small. It's like probably as small
the size of like a grape. Yeah.
Yes, but by 8 weeks or 12 weeks, and you're talking about.
But the vast majority of abortions are performed in the first trimester.
Yeah, that's right.
So when the type of abortion that you described is literally the like minority of the time, and those are wanted pregnancies because usually those women want those pregnancies. They weren't able to carry them to term.
They don't know they're pregnant till they're 6 weeks, to your point.
They weren't able to carry those children to term because of health risks to their own life or to the infants.
Right. So without getting into that, no infant should be terminated because of health risk to the infant. Okay, that's insane. It's like you're going to kill the baby because the baby has health risks.
Not just health risks. These are
let me ask you.
These are medical.
Hold on, Down syndrome.
Yeah, like
should we abort
or
Down syndrome kids?
No.
Iceland has. They said if you have Down syndrome, you're done. So that's not a new phenomenon. They have gotten rid of Down syndrome. If you have a DNA test of Down syndrome, they abort the kid. I think that's cruel and unusual.
That is.
Yeah.
Okay, we agree. Good.
I think there are frivolous reasons to procure abortions, but I don't believe that just because there are frivolous reasons to get them, that means it should be outlawed.
But should murder be outlawed?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like you were saying, even though you believe that those women have a hand in committing the murder and infanticide of their own children, they shouldn't go to jail.
They have not been given informed consent.
Do you have that opinion with people who are addicted to drugs? Do you think only drug dealers should go to jail, but not people who actually try to buy drugs and consume them?
It depends what drug it is. It depends the category, the class, the repetition.
Is there a single drug where you would say that somebody who is buying and consuming drugs that they are addicted to should not be going to jail, but only their drug dealer should be going to jail?
I mean, I think fentanyl and heroin potentially, but it's a completely separate issue because a lot of people know the informed consent of heroin and fentanyl. It's not we have PSAs, we have billboards. Stop using fentanyl. Stop doing fentanyl. How many times have you heard that? Have you ever?
But they have a chemical dependency now that prevents them from being able to make that choice.
How often have we ever had an honest conversation with women in this country saying that having an abortion increases the chances for depression, anxiety, medication dependence?
So does having a kid.
What? Hold on.
Having children carries all of those same risks.
You think having children? You think having children?
No, don't mischaracterize me.
No, that's not true at all.
I'm not going to say that having a child necessarily gives you depression or any of that.
That's what she said.
It can come with it. Like postpartum depression, for example, is extremely common among young
It's temporary and short-lived, and obviously.
Not always.
For some people last years.
So is the depression from
That's temporary and short-lived. That's not permanent.
You think
but when you're
years
in that,
of living with
you're not...
postpartum depression can simply constitute a temporary medical issue?
Let's theoretically even grant. So you're saying because of potential postpartum depression or financial burdens, the moral answer is allow women to go in.
No, that was never my
clinics.
argument. This had nothing to do with morality. This was a completely separate question. I'm only saying that I feel like you're trivializing and downplaying how serious conditions like postpartum depression can be when you want to write it off as like a temporary medical issue
real.
When it can be years-long battle.
Look, having children is a serious choice. So what percentage of abortions, according to the Guttmacher Institute, are not rape, not incest, and not life of the mother? What percentage would you say?
Probably the vast majority.
97%.
Yeah.
So is abortion now birth control? Yes or no?
No, I don't think so.
I think that's situational to each and every person.
Molly, do you think that birth control, it could be called birth control in certain situations?
Because you're talking about over 1 million abortions, but there's tens of millions of women that are on birth control, that have IUDs, that take birth control pills. So obviously, that's not the only reason why.
But it's a form of birth control. Is it not?
It's a form of birth control, sure, but you acknowledge that it's not the predominant form of birth control.
Well, no, I didn't say that. Hold on. I said it's birth control.
Yeah, but we're not disagreeing with the category. I'm talking about the prevalence of it.
If it's birth control, then why would we allow it to continue if it's not? If you put the rape, incest, life of the mother, which we can debate.
I didn't.
But no, I'm going to put that aside for a second. Then why should we allow a horrific procedure to continue that has such heavy and dire consequences and results in a child not being able to live outside of the womb?
Because that's
you're loading it so much by saying a horrific procedure. Most women who procure abortions actually report being happy long term because they made the choice, because there's many different reasons why women get abortions. Some women aren't in a financial position to have a child at that time and actually decide to have children later.
How'd they get pregnant?
What do you mean? They had sex unprotected an accident.
So they want the orgasm without the responsibility.
Do you think the majority of women are having orgasms in sex? Are you serious? Have you seen the studies on orgasm gaps between men and women?
I'll be honest. So they want all the pleasure. They want all, but it's you want all the loose lifestyle, but none of the responsibility.
Now you're framing it like the punishment for having it should orgasm should be punished. No, the way that you're framing it, which is that
not a punishment.
Oh, you want the loosey-goosey parts of sex, like the orgasm, but you don't want the responsibility of a child. It's like, yeah, some people want to be able to have sex.
Okay, no, you articulate it perfectly. I'm going to be able to have sex how I want, and if I have to go put a dagger through, or have someone put a dagger through a child for me, then so be it.
Sure, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that you're being morally clear. And basically it's my body. I can do whatever I want with it. Even though, let me ask you a question.
Even though, like I said, most women don't regret their abortions at all. Like the vast majority of women report happiness and being okay with their decision. I'm sure you think that they're lying or they're indoctrinated or wrong or delusional.
But if it's not your DNA, how is it your choice? If it's not your DNA, why is it your choice?
It is.
No, it's the baby has its own
carry the
DNA.
child to
Your
gestation.
partner's DNA, and then it forms into
It has its own unique DNA that's not yours.
It's part of your DNA. It's 50-50.
It's half. Oh, so should the man then be able to have veto power over abortion?
Well, the point is the man isn't the one incubating the child.
But I thought if it's about DNA.
But I never made the DNA argument. You did. The argument that I was going to make was, or I was going to ask you the question, do you think another person has a right to your life and your body?
Does another person have a right to? Well, technically, because abortion was legal when I was in utero, someone did have a right to my life and body.
Okay.
And my mom chose life. Praise God. So did all your moms.
Yeah.
My mom actually wanted an abortion.
Are you glad that she didn't have an abortion?
No.
So you would rather be dead?
I don't know. I mean, life can be difficult.
If she didn't exist, you would not be able to even know what you never materialized.
A couple people wanted to come in really quick. It looked like you wanted to come in. I'd like to give you an opportunity to speak. Then I think you had more Pixie than Molly. Go ahead.
It was just backtrack just on what he was saying on not wanting to have the responsibility. I think that's really, I don't really think that makes sense because I don't think sex is just for reproduction. it's just like asking you, you know, like every time, I'm not trying to bring in your wife, but, you know, every time you have sex with your wife, it's purely for reproduction. I feel like that is very inaccurate. So, I mean, it's hard to expect everyone who isn't in a marriage to just not have sex just because they don't want to get pregnant or just because they don't want to have that responsibility.
Wait, did you even make the argument that sex is purely
no,
for...
I didn't.
I don't think you did.
But Angel's making a good point, and I want to give her credit for this. What she's saying, and it could be misunderstood that I was saying sex is strictly for reproduction. What I was saying is that everything in life has consequences and choices, right?
Correct,
and
yes.
at times, the mainstream predominant narrative is that sex comes with almost no downsides, and we're going to give you either the technology, the procedure, or whatever to try to limit those downsides. But the difference is that when my wife and I have sex, if she results to be pregnant, which she did, is that we live with that consequence, which happens to be a positive consequence, right? A huge blessing. Now, I understand what I'm saying is very, very radical and very unpopular, but the ideal should be far less people having premarital sex and trying to have sex within marital guidelines, or at the very least monogamous guidelines, okay? So that if there was to be a pregnancy, that baby could be loved and cared for and brought into this world. I understand it's a hard ideal to even grasp and comprehend in a world where everything is very sex positive and sex abundant, but it's an ideal that I defend nonetheless.
I mean, I don't think there's anything that's in contradiction with being sex positive, but also wanting to help prevent unwanted pregnancies.